hello. It is a peaceful, lovely, sunny afternoon under the apple tree here, and it is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous apples. And they are ripe in the beginning of November, and they're completely glowing red, the whole apple. And they are delicious, and they make very good apple pies, and I'm gonna make one. I want to talk in this video about a couple of things, some from our trip, and I'm gonna start with the nightmare from yesterday. So we're here at the other house. We came back from our trip about a week ago, and there was so much to talk about the trip that I would never fit that into one video. I've also made a video about the trip on the other channel, Nikki Loves Dogs, as well, showing my other rock. So I found 3 rocks on the trip. A smaller, cubic, like a cube, orange rock, a rock that fits big into my hand like this, that has opal in it, and one that I have to carry with both hands, that fits into both hands, and it's also kind of rectangular, and it has the blue god and dog form shape in it, and that also contains opals. And my husband is going to Home Depot right now to get me some polishing blades, like diamond surface polishing blades for a rotary drill type of motor, handheld drill type of motor thing that he has given me today. A yellow, looks like DeWalt, but it's an off-brand. So he only paid $15 for it at the grocery outlet, and he said, you can have this, you can have the Milwaukee if you want to, but, and I said, no, I'm happy with the cheap one because I'm just getting started as a rock finding pioneer, as I call it. It's not a pioneer, but a rock finder. I've been looking for rocks. I've been collecting rocks for many years, for like, I don't know, 20 years or something. But I have never gone into a mine. When we went on the trip, the mines were closed, and the only mine that was open was only for off-road vehicles, and we didn't have off-road tires or four-wheel drive, so we couldn't go down that dirt road that went there for 2 miles or 3 miles way into the middle of the desert to the Bonanza mine. And so, but when we get the Sprinter van 4-wheel drive, we're gonna go to the Bonanza mine. And while we were there, we saw the day before we went over there, my husband saw the sheriff go over to the Bonanza mine. So something happened there, kind of like in the Wild West film Bonanza, so which we all watched when we were kids. So I felt like I was right in the middle of that whole area where they filmed Bonanza and Star Trek Enterprise and Star Wars, and so it is absolutely mesmerizing, not just because Hollywood found their way to it, but because it's much beyond Hollywood, and it's very much beyond Hollywood. It is an atmosphere that is infinite. That there's an infinity there. The infinity sign is out there, and it is absolutely gorgeous and mesmerizing. I am absolutely thrilled about that area. It draws me to it. We're gonna go back there either this winter if there's a warm wave coming, so we can get safely over the mountain passes, or we're gonna go in spring, probably in May. So And there's another route that I wanted to take this time, maybe a safer route, because after that lady had driven into the rock wall, like 3 other people after her had terrible accidents, fatal fetal position, I don't know, fatal accidents on that road. And when I heard that, man, I felt like, no, I'm not gonna go on that road again. Unfortunately, I can't say which road it is, but it is a treacherous road that is going past a very steep canyon with a river all the way on the bottom, and it meanders its way along with the river wall, the side of the river that is very, very, very steep, goes steep down for like hundreds of feet. So one can really fall down there, and one semi truck fell over, and other people had accidents, and they drive too fast on that road. Some of them are intoxicated. So when we drive, we have to always pay attention for the other people. We have to be the stewards on the road, and that applies to all people, really. Never drink and never take any substances that make you foggy, okay? Ever, never, ever, ever, ever take anything, any kind of substance that in some way alters your sharpness of sensory acuity, because you need it when you're driving. You really need this, and you need to always keep one foot a little bit over to the right side. You never know if someone comes from the opposite direction. They may not be so much paying attention. They might swerve, or you never know. That one foot can save lives. That's what I always tell Paul, keep one foot to the right, because you don't want to be too far to the right, then you can fall off that cliff. But you have to be just before that white line, of course. But you don't want to be too far in the middle, because that can be very, very, very dangerous. I'm always really worried. I'm always scared. So I don't want to drive at all unless we really have to. So, and I recommend that to other people as well. So yeah, but the desert region is calling me, and it is absolutely stunning there. There's a stunning atmosphere. The sky is clear. You can see all the stars, and out there is really the darkest area on Google Earth. If you look at Google Earth, it shows you the globe. It shows you the globe and certain regions at night, and so that's the darkest area, the least populated in the entire United States. I don't know, maybe worldwide, because there's a very large area where nobody lives, and at night there are no lights that are emitted from that area. So it's no light pollution that will sort of blind out the sight towards the stars, towards the Milky Way. And you can see the Milky Way, you can see Mars real large, you can see the moon. I saw the moon in the most glorious forms out there at Bog Hot Springs. It was more than I have ever expected or ever dreamed of. It was dreamlike, unbelievable. And that area there, the pristineness, there's a lot of people going there camping, and they made everything dirty, and it was awful, and that's probably why I got that allergic reaction that was so bad, but it's healing up finally. I'm so glad I did it. I'm healing it up with sodium bentonite clay, all from the earth. So the doctor wanted to prescribe antihistamines and whatnot, all kinds of terrible toxic creams. Thank you very much. I don't need it. I can take care of it myself. I have that knowledge. Here's the papa dog. Yes, here's the papa dog finally coming out into the garden in the afternoon. It is peaceful and beautiful, yes. And wonderful it is, yes. So I wanted to talk about two nightmares that I had. I had one nightmare out there at Bog Hot Springs that was very intense, and that I think this area there, that intense energy out there created by the earth, not by the people. The earth is putting out an intense energy out there that is, I can feel it in the pit of my solar plexus, in my stomach, in my guts. When I look out there, that moon, this huge, amazing, beige colored, glowing, kind of gloomy moon. I've never seen a moon like this before, ever. And it was right over the horizon mountain peaks, like they're rolling hills and mountain peaks of craters and volcanoes and mountain formations on the horizon, and the moon was right above there, shining down into this entire area of Bog Hot Springs, the sagebrush area. That's all that's growing there is sagebrushes that are about 3 or 4 feet high, and they're in a distance of, they're about 10 feet apart, each of those. And this entire area is like this, like a landscape from another planet. Amazing, absolutely mesmerizing. And it's something for poetry to write about or to paint, like a picture by Salvador Dali. Unbelievably amazing. And it's calling me out there, and it just felt so incredible. It opened me up. It opened up all my chakra centers. So I wonder if that is Paul coming back. So I don't know. Alright. Oh my dog, what is it? Okay. Keep an eye on the door. Alright. So yes, he is coming back. Yes, he is coming back soon. Buying food and tools. He's gonna buy me this polishing tool. Yes, you are gorgeous. Beyond imagination. Yes, you are gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yes, gorgeous. Yes, I gotta do clay treatment. I'm doing sodium bentonite clay treatments. He has bumps, and I'm worried about that. So I already cleared a bump like this here in the other ear. This is going down. So because I am putting sodium bentonite on those bumps, I pack quite a bit on it. Paul doesn't like it because then he is all smeared up, but that's better than, that's better than getting bumps. And so if that helps with the bumps, it clears up the bumps. That is fantastic, is that? Yes, that is holistic healing, is that? Yes, that is absolutely incredibly amazing. Sodium bentonite, it clears up bumps in humans also, and in all animals. It's really amazing. So I've done it myself even. I had bumps, and I didn't know what it was. It was like really, really hardened bumps, and I put sodium bentonite clay every day on it for over a month, several times per day. The bumps cleared up completely. So yeah, Paul gets mad if I put this on too often with him, and particularly after him taking a shower. Paul wants him clean in bed and all of this, which I understand. So I don't do it as often with him. But if I lived with him alone, I would put it on him 3 times per day and would do this for like a month or two, and I'm sure it would all clear up in a very rapid pace. So it would all heal up. I know it would. So anyway, I get sidetracked checking to see if Paul is coming back. I think he is coming back. Papa Dog's looking out the window. So yeah, so these accidents, I don't want to go on the road. We have to take different roads, and we don't want to go on the road if we don't have to, but it is calling me out there. We're gonna have to go again, and this is gonna be life's mission for me now. So I love it here too, around the ocean. I love it here too. It's beautiful, but it's very crowded, and people emit stressful energy. It's too bad. It shouldn't be stressful at the ocean. It should be the opposite. But it's because people flock there, they create businesses, they create tension, greed, need, this, me now or never, or someone else, this kind of energy. I talked about this in my other videos. This greed tension, entrepreneur tension, all of this is here in this region, and it doesn't feel very good. So out there in the desert, there is this, there's nothing to do. No internet, no phone, nobody there. I mean, some campers, it's not good. But I mean, it is much less of this, of any of this radio frequencies, stress, tension energies, entrepreneur energies, greed energies, electromagnetic waves. I mean, any of this is a whole lot better out there, and you can feel it. It feels absolutely amazing. It is amazing. So I cannot even put it into words. So that's why we are definitely gonna look for property. I found a property out there. I can't say where it is. We're gonna look at it, and I can't wait to go there. It's so incredibly beautiful. And this is more than life insurance, okay? This is more than health insurance, because it is safe, holistic, it is fraud proof, okay, murder proof. It is the ultimate retirement solution. Is when you feel like you've had it with society and civilization. I mean, at retirement age, which we are in, or also earlier, some people go and leave all this behind earlier, like Eric Jacobs, for example. That's the way to go. Or Kevin Kempervin, Kevin. So those people are saying bye to civilization. They take off in their van or motorhome with their animals, and they go to hot springs and they enjoy nature. That's what we're supposed to do, actually, and not be bound into a stressful situation working for a very tense and greed-based boss, and they're always under tension, it's always grinding, always like, I gotta do this, we gotta get this done. And I had a little bit of a taste of this because I had jobs and some people are just under so much stress with their time, and I had jobs, particularly when I worked for architects. I mean, help my dad. He was more relaxed about it. Also, of course, because I'm his daughter, he just gave me these coloring jobs, and he just said, "Oh, whatever you get done, whatever you." But his partner, his business partner, he was like, behind my back, like, we gotta get this done, we gotta get this done by tomorrow, we gotta get this done, we gotta get this done, you better do it fast, you better work all night long until like 1 o'clock or something. And this grinding energy, that's not life. That's not. And then what happened is, this ties in with these accidents. Then what happened is, after I moved to the United States, many years later, suddenly my mother tells me on Skype, she looked white like a sheet with these rings under her eyes. She said, my gosh, this guy, that architect, that former partner, he had opened up his own business, was even under more stress than ever before. And I talked to his secretary before that, when I came to visit them the last time in 2006, I talked to her and she said, he is under so much stress, it's just incredible, it's unhealthy, and he can't even pay her. It's like the recession was happening and all of it. And so my mother told me that he had head-on collision and was completely crushed. There was a ghost driver on the freeway who ran right into him and completely squished his car frontally in, and him and everything mashed. And it must have been unbelievably frightening for a few seconds, but that's all it was. The good thing is that it was a very fast death. So it was only a couple of seconds long. Maybe 1, 2, 3. And everything smashed in 3 seconds. So it was a shock for all of us. But I know why this happened, because that grinding, tense energy, the clinging to this, I need to get customers, I need to get this done, we need to get this done, and we need to get this. I already saw that long time ago in him. And I felt bad for him for that, very bad. And that is what we need to get away from. And as Teal Swan said, if we stand in resistance to whatever it is, we stand in resistance and we fight. Fighting is resistance. We're in a fighting mode, then the universe, the infinite cosmos, things will be geared towards pushing us off the cliff, or having a head-on collision, or much worse, illness and stuff like this. Hardships, much worse. So, yeah, and eventually death, because that is when the person is not letting go all the way to the end. If you let go of it, you say, oh, I see, this is just grinding. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't feel good. Listen to your own inner self. It doesn't feel good. Then it's time for retirement. It's time to let completely off whatever you're struggling with professionally or in your life, or whatever people are doing, or in a bad relationship. Then it's time to let go, let off. Go into a different road. You're in a maze garden, you are hitting the end. Some people, they keep hitting the end because they think they must go through, but it doesn't go through. Okay. That's a state of resistance to that what is. Okay, there's an obstacle, I get out and take another path. Okay, and the path is retirement. The path is finding other elegant, good, beautiful solutions to existence, peaceful solutions to existence. That is the way. That is the way. I have gone through this myself. I've never been an ambitious person, so because something inside of me always knew extreme ambition is always a state of resistance. I couldn't put it into words, but I felt that energetically. I knew it energetically. So there was an energetic sort of knowing inside of me that went against the odds of my family and society and everything and everyone's recommendations, because everyone else is like I showed in my Xeno box play in the staircase on the other channel, that, as my mother always said, you need to get in line, you need to get a job, you need to learn what it means to be in the world of in society, having a job you don't like, in parentheses, which she isn't even conscious about. So get a job you don't like everyone else. So that's in parentheses, because she's completely unconscious about that the job doesn't feel good, that you really don't like the job. She really didn't like her job as a lawyer, as to get people divorced. She didn't like it. I could feel it, but she wasn't even aware of it. She thought she had to do this, to save her face, to be someone, to have certain amount of independence, but it didn't work out at all. Having two kids at the same time didn't work out at all. It's just total chaos. So yeah, either kids or job. It's not because of sexism or getting in line with sexist society. No, it's for practicability reasons. You cannot, even a goddess like Teal Swan is still in a human body. You cannot, unless you split yourself in two people miraculously. If you have a twin, then the twin can take care of the kids. You can have a kid and the twin can have a kid, and the twin takes care of the kids and you work, or vice versa. Something like this, but you have to be a double person. You cannot, as one human being, work and take care of the kids. Kids are a full-time job. My mother didn't seem to understand this. I understood it, that's why I didn't have kids. Because I didn't want a job nor kids. I'm lazy, and I'm an artist, and I'm not ambitious. I know instinctively, I know energetically that existence is about, and that's where this desert region comes in, and the sky at night. Also here last night too, looking here over we're here on a knoll, and I look out the window, and at night in particular, I don't see anything behind the ivy over there, and I see some power lines, but you don't see them at night, and you have this feeling of there's wideness, and this wideness is in the infinite cosmos, is at the Orion Nebula, is beyond the Orion Nebula, is beyond and out into infinity. And there is this peace, okay? There's the heavens, there's heaven, there's where we float when we're not in the physical body anymore. We float around there, and we float over the rolling hills. We can float anywhere and out there, and it's freedom and peace, and we don't want anything from anyone. Total peace. But that I want to achieve here in this body, in this existence. That is the meaning of life. Not being ambitious. And I mean, a certain amount of ambition can be good, but only if you really enjoy it, if you thoroughly enjoy it, if there's true joy. Like Robert Greene talks about this, when he writes a book, this true commitment and fascination with the subject, this really diving into this scientifically, writing, exploring, mind work, you really being in it and fully enjoying. That's not work. That's not over ambition or something. Over ambitiousness is what most people do when they are, particularly those who have an entrepreneur type of mindset, who want to move ahead in what they think they need to do in order to be respected. So it doesn't come from the right mindset. It's not enjoying, So when you live your life and you do something you thoroughly enjoy and you make money with this also, that's not a job. That's not work. That's living to the fullest. Okay? And that is really, that's being in tune with the infinite cosmos. Okay? And everyone can achieve this. You don't have to have kickstart money or something. You don't have to already be in a privileged type of household or background or anything. Okay? You don't have to go to Harvard or no, you can be anybody out there. Okay? Anyone. You could be in prison, you could be a construction worker, you could be a toilet cleaner, you could be a teacher, you could be anybody out there in grinding jobs. You could be an entrepreneur, start-up entrepreneur, struggling. Let go. Let go of the toilet brush, cleaning other people's toilets. I've done this, by the way, for 2 years. I've done it. I needed to go through this. I wanted to feel it, what it feels like. I also needed the money, of course, doing primotherapy, which really draws all your money out of your bank account. With that money I spent in primotherapy, I could have bought a house in Malibu and a Rolls Royce. I'm not kidding, it's true. Okay? I should have, that would have been a much better thing to do, saving the money up for a house in Malibu and a Rolls Royce. Could have had that now, but now I spend it on primotherapy. It's not good. And that's why when I develop, and that's my ultimate goal, to develop a therapy center, I'm not going to draw money out of people's bank accounts. I'm going to make this a non-profit. I'm going to, I don't know how, I'll figure out a way, okay, so that this can be sort of also helped governmentally or supported in some way, or if I have to make it into a religion just for practicability, legal purposes, like the Scientologists did, which is just it's actually just a therapy, Scientology, but they had to make it into a religion for legal purposes, and then it escalated out of this, so sort of reminds me of this, the convicted man out of Lost Honor. There's a book title that we studied in German literature a long time ago. The convicted person, the accused out of Lost Honor, he finally became a criminal because he lost his honor. But sometimes a certain situation, like a legality situation, can force someone into doing this or that, which is really not intended, which is also not really good, and then it derails and becomes that what it wasn't supposed to be. So then it became a religion, and it became a cult, and all the bad things happened in that cult, including murder. So it's awful. unbelievably awful. Murder that has never been solved. So there's a woman, she wrote about this. She didn't really call the kid by name, but that's pretty obvious. Because she didn't want to get in trouble. But I can sense it. There was a woman who was murdered. You know, the cult leader's woman. Incredible. Awful, incredibly awful. So, they have developed certain therapeutic skills. Some of them that are initially going in the right direction, but then it derails. Because those very techniques are being used by the therapist in their own egoic favor, because the ego always finds a way to out-trick someone else and find a way to sort of benefit neurotically or financially or whatever. So that's what always happens. No, that's my ultimate goal, to have a therapy where we are not being charged like a Rolls Royce and a house in Malibu. So a therapy where everything is just based on donations. That is my goal. If I live that long, if I can make it that far, But that is my end goal. That's my end vision. And if I don't do it, maybe someone else will do it. Maybe someone I can train in that direction to do it. Someone younger, or my niece, or Mirka, or any younger person, who could take that ball and roll with it into the future, and make that and develop. It's not about, these things are not about one particular person. This is an energetic thing that needs to be developed. Okay, I'm just a messenger of it. It could be anyone who brings that message across. Teal Swan talks about it as well. So, and she got something rolling here. I just want to stay away from cultism. I don't want cultism. I see that people are already making a cult out of Teal Swan. So they're already starting to worship. This is the human nature. She doesn't want people to do this, but people do it. And so, me being 53, she's just, I don't know, 32 or something. So, she's a goddess, but she's much younger. I have much more experience in terms of psychology and observing people and observing all of these things escalating out of control, like for decades going on. Okay? So I know how this goes. I know the human psychology very well by now. And I know it's not working. Cultism needs to be stopped right in the beginning. As Zarathustra always said to his disciples, I taught you something, but now you go out into the world and you make something with it, and you move it forward, and you gain even more knowledge. Okay, it's not about me, it's not about Zarathustra, it's not about Nietzsche, it's not about any kind of teacher or figure in history. It's not about Jesus. It's not even about the Buddha. The Buddha didn't want this to be made about him. He didn't want a religion made in his name. Okay, it was about the message and nothing else. It was about make it work. Avoid the cultism. That's the whole deal about it. Avoid the religiousness. Avoid the cultism. Avoid the worshipping of other people or imaginary gods. Don't worship them. You can paint them, you can make them your guardian angels. Don't worship them. They're just your friends. They're your friends. You don't worship your mother. Don't worship, you don't worship your dad. Don't worship your dad. Don't worship anyone. They're your friends. They can be your guards. They can protect you. They can hold you by the hand. we're friends. We're there for each other, but not one over the other. We're on eye level. One person may have more knowledge. Let's acknowledge that. Let's learn from them, and let's move on, and let's make it better. Let's develop. I learned from Arthur Janov. Now I'm taking this and making it better. Okay, we're ruling out the glitches. Okay, we're weeding out the glitches in it, the problems, the rockiness, and make it better and smoother and move forward. I'm making video right now. It's very important. Yes, I'm making video. I just want to finish this up. It's very important. Walking back with the tool material. It's great. So I want to polish rocks. I want to get into this. This is very highly energetic. It's very healing. Those are healing modalities also in terms of natural healing. Okay, I'm getting into all natural healing, like any kind of modality that we can find endlessly more. Okay, I want other people to get into it as well. I learned from Dr. Scholl's. I developed my own techniques even. That's what Dr. Scholl's wants, you know. He calls these people the natural healing, holistic healing cosmonauts, okay, which is fantastic of him. It's very humble of him that he acknowledges that people will figure out their own modalities based on holistic health. Okay, that's what we want, not just worshiping or listening to one person and being stagnated with this, but real learning is I read what you say, I take it in, I investigate it for myself, I put it to the test, and I might find, oh, there's something you've overlooked. Okay, so I'll point this out, I will make it better, I will explain why, then I will teach that to someone else, and they will find another glitch or problem or obstacle, and they will work on this, and this is how we move forward. Okay, it's not about one person or another. It's about the message itself that becomes louder and clearer as we go forward. The message of the infinite cosmos. We become more aware of the message, one generation after another. If we all move this thing forward, each person, you know, as many people as possible, then we can become more in tune with the infinite cosmos and its message. And that is what the divine is. It's not a religion. Okay? It's not being bound to a specific teacher or guru or figure in history like Jesus or Buddha or anyone. Okay? The Buddha is the embodiment of the infinite cosmos. That was one of his manifestations. Okay? But because he was the embodiment of the infinite, he saw all of this at once already. He already had the energetic knowing to the fullest. And he knew that this is what people do. They make a religion, and he knew it's probably unavoidable, and this also, as we can see, you know, many Buddhist sects and cults have been developed out of it, and they are bullshit, most of this, and it's maybe better. Some Buddhist religions are better than the other religions, but it's still religion and still worshipping. It's still hierarchy. It still bypasses the actual message. So actual message is get away from religions and worshipping and cultism. Get away from it. Test things out for yourself and stand on your own. That's very difficult for most people to do because they want to lean on someone. But only lean on someone to the degree as, right now I need your arm to hold me, but you're making me stronger, we make each other stronger, and we can move forward. Okay, not in the sense where one ego makes the other person, keeps the other person dependent. That's what the ego likes to do. Okay, my husband also has the tendency to do this. When I feel independent and strong, he doesn't feel so good. because fear comes up. What if I leave? Those kind of things. Ego wants the other person to be dependent. Gurus are very insecure people. They want that. Robert Greene talks about this too. Particularly those people who think they really have the last wisdom to give. Those are the most insecure people. Beware, red flag, red lamps are coming on. Alarm. If someone says that they have no more ego, it's like total alarm, like ego alert, like hello, oh my gosh, red flags. I see it on the internet all the time. Particularly those people who think they understand Jiddu Krishnamurti, and they think now they are making themselves into that manifestation what they see in Jiddu Krishnamurti. So they feel like they are carrying the torch, but in a bad way, in an egoic way, in a very narcissistic way. So they think they understood it all now, and everyone needs to listen to them. Me. Very, very bad. Those are the most narcissistic people there are. We all have ego, every one of us. It's a human. If you're in a human body, you have an ego. Well, that's all there is to it. Eckhart Tolle still has an ego. Even Jiddu Krishnamurti had an ego. Even he had. But he was aware of it. Consciously aware of it. And that's what we have to aim towards. To dive into that conscious awareness. Become conscious. Yeah, this is what's happening. I have an ego. I got jealousy. I got this and this and this. And sometimes I get depressed over it. That's still a light years better than not being conscious about it at all. Or being kidding myself or something like my mother does. So being in a total fog. So it's light years better than have to be depressed over this. Oh, I'm jealous. Shit. It's still better. Like this, like light years more enlightened. Well, I don't even like the word enlightened. Light years more, just more aware. I'm aware. I'm jealous. Okay, that's already like this. That's where it dives in. That's the door to it. That's the door to consciousness. To dive into this very awareness. Existing in a body like this is very tough. It's very difficult. There's all kinds of problems and obstacles all the time, health-wise, physically, and psychologically. But there are solutions to everything, and not just solutions, but elegant solutions, and not just that. There are divine solutions out there, but people don't know it. The corporations don't tell you about these divine solutions because they're the side shooters. They're the entrepreneurs. They're the egos that want to keep people dependent. They're the greed-based clinging and the grinding and unconsciousness, and they cling to certain things that don't work, and they're not even aware or conscious. They don't want to become conscious that they don't work. The toxic solutions, okay, on all levels, so physically, mentally, petrochemically, pharmaceutically, pesticides, car pollution, drilling, fracking. They cling to it because that is their market niche, or that is their market perpetuation. They don't want to let go of that income that comes out of this. But they don't see down the line. They're not visionaries. They don't see what it's going to cause in the future. They don't want to see what it's going to cause in the future. They have think tanks and entire organizations, even paid by our tax money, with governmental incentives, think tank summit groups where they figure out ways to keep people in a fog about global warming. That's how far it goes. People need to become aware about this. There are certain conspiracy theory people who are very unconscious on some levels, who are actually given money, who are facilitated to stay rambling on about hoaxes and blah blah blah, because it feeds into their agenda. Okay, so why are some radio hosts and some people getting so much financial support? Why do people who talk about all of this as I do get no support? Not only no support, but I have that feeling that my videos are actually withheld from the public. Maybe that's just a paranoia, but I get this feeling, I really do, because when I look at my channel, I looked at my channel from different devices, and I see a different number of views, and that number varies drastically from one device looking at it to the other. So some people, the public is shown that my videos got 5 views when in reality they actually got 40 views. But still, I mean, it's a small number of views. So that keeps the actual number of views low, just like this. Because people are herd animals, flock animals, people have this tendency to go with a guru. Oh, she has more views, I gotta look at the video. See, they don't go by, oh, this title sounds interesting, she has only 1 view, doesn't matter, I want to hear what she has. That's what it is. The mindset is already geared towards that, and it is perpetuated by it. This mindset is perpetuated by, it's like a loop, by the corporate agenda, of course. But anyway, the video, I am getting into all of this, it's all important, but I want to really talk about these nightmares. So 3 things I want to talk about that are, and even if I have to make part 2, that are very, very, very important. Okay, last night I had a nightmare that was very strange. Okay, here at this other house, I dreamed that I was in an elevator. I was going up, the elevator door was opening, and there was a statue, a Egyptian statue, very tall, and it had a face like a schoolboy who bullied me when I was 7. He was much taller than me because he was like 3 years older, and when you are 7 and the other person is 10, there's a huge gap in size, of course. Boys are usually taller than girls anyway, but between 7 and 10, that's a huge we are in the growing stage at that time. So the 10-year-old is much taller, and he used to lift me up, and he had a specific facial expression like this, and it was very frightening for me. So I was kind of like, I looked like that JonBenét Ramsey at 6 and 7. I really did, and I even was dressed up with mini skirts. That was the fashion back then in the 70s, and it was a very detrimental fashion, particularly to put girls into mini skirts, and they did it here in the United States for these fashion beauty pageant shows, the kid dressing, that's a crime, kid dressing up like adults, and also school uniforms. There was one woman, it went so far with her that she wanted to become a man because it was so frightening, and there's such sexual abuse, childhood abuse, that's so traumatic. Even though she is not a transgender, she is not even, I don't think she's even bisexual. I think she is a fully straight woman who just couldn't deal with the pressure of the sexual energy and the sexual abuse. So that drove her into taking testosterone. But I don't think she had a sex change operation. So she reversed that later on. So when she got 40 or something, or 38. She reversed that again because she never was a real transsexual. She was always a full woman, but she injected testosterone out of fear, just how to get away from this sexual abuse. That's how far it goes. That's how far this trauma goes. It goes so far that people even mutilate themselves. It causes people to commit suicide. One girl committed suicide. She couldn't take the sexual abuse, the constant sexual harassment in school, and attention in a way that she could not deal with. She wanted respect. She wanted love and kindness and gentleness. She didn't get that. Most boys approach women there's also all that shame behind this. I could just talk forever about any of these things because that goes very, very, very deep. So there was this gypsum statue, looked like a Greek god, like a maybe sort of like a marble sculpture, like the David, but it wasn't marble. It was definitely gypsum material that had not a shiny surface. That was like kind of like this white powdery type of surface. And he had this funny, strange look, the way he looked at me, and I felt like he was taking my hands, and I was looking up to him. He was much taller than me, the statue, and it was just a statue, but there was a soul in it. There was a very egoic ghost in that statue, in that sculpture, and the sculptor became alive, and he touched my hand, and I could feel him touching my hand. And in that dream I started screaming again, screaming and screaming and screaming. I just want to capture this because I might watch this later on in my life, because these are really documentations of the way I think and what I'm going through. For myself, mainly. Also feeling good talking about it. It might help someone else. So definitely childhood abuse looking right through this dream. And my husband had to wake me up again because I was screaming, the window open, very embarrassing. Other people can hear this. So right in the middle of the night, like 1 or 2 o'clock. And then I had to make myself get up and stay up for a while, take Papa Dog in the garden, sit there in the garage, and then I couldn't go back to sleep right away, thinking about this dream. Then I finally fell asleep again. Oh gosh, thank goodness. So then I had a nightmare while we were at Bog Hot Springs, all the way out there in the desert. That was about 2 weeks ago. And I dreamed that I was in a hot spring, geothermal, but very large swimming pool. And there was some sort of stage on the other side of the pool, and there were other people in the pool too. And on the stage, suddenly, all the way up high, like a mountain on the stage, suddenly someone said, "There's Barbara," my friend who had passed